Sometimes being in crypto during the bear market can feel like you're lost in the woods. I'm going to give you some of the things that I've made, different mistakes I've made, and different things that I've realized over time being through a couple bear markets. Now, for one, very few people can survive the bear market on their own accord, like actually produce enough off of even programming. You could be a brilliant programmer, you could really have a great project, and it's tough to get funding. Everything almost goes into a sleeper mode during these bear markets. And that happened in 2015 really badly. And I didn't expect it to happen quite as badly as it has this market. Now price aside, you still have obviously decent moves with Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, Monero, these kind of things. But one of the problems that you have with some of these lower projects that are on down the list on CoinMarketCap is they kind of, in a way, kind of get forgotten. Maybe they start not getting traded as much. Maybe they get delisted. And it's always a worry. So, in situations where maybe I've stuck in some of those projects, sometimes it's almost like the writing is on the wall and you're like, man, if this thing keeps getting delisted, if it, it's losing trade volume, you don't want that trade volume to go to zero, because then people are like, well, what's it worth? Last trade was 3 days ago, kind of thing. Yeah, it's a very bad situation. So that's one of the mistakes that I made in the past, where kind of hang on to a project that, and it might even be getting worked on. You might even see there's been work done on GitHub, that kind of thing. But in the end, if it's not getting traded and people don't feel like they can make something off of it by trading it, then you could essentially lose your entire investment. Another thing, anytime there's forks, airdrops, those kind of things, the most conservative approach is actually to gravitate to high ground. You get EOS airdrops, the most conservative approach is to stack more EOS. Sell those for EOS on new decks or wherever. And some people say, well, we don't know what's going to happen with Telos. We don't know what's going to happen with POS. What about SOV? These things. Well, for them to survive, EOS has to survive. And EOS has, is on all the major exchanges, on all the major fiat gateways. So the probability that it survives is much greater than the airdrops that are being, basically released, or sister chains, or those kind of things. I made a mistake this last kind of bull run where there were some Monero forks. And at one point, one of them was worth like $800 with the coins that I had. And I thought, I'll just see what happens with it. That was a stupid move. I should have went ahead, got that out as soon as possible, and stacked more Monero. But I didn't. And so it essentially lost liquidity, and then it wasn't worth anything. So it's kind of like I lost $800. And I'm sure some of you guys have experienced that too. Another thing that I've noticed, any kind of system where it's too easy to earn, whether that be a blogging platform or it's proof of stake, where you're not using the electricity, you're not doing extreme amounts of proof of work like you do on Litecoin, Bitcoin, Ether, Monero, those kind of coins. If it's too easy to earn, the price is probably going to get beat up, because people from all around the world are willing to earn, whatever, $1 a day, $5 a day, $10 a day, and they'll bleed it out. The spam farmers will bleed it out. And even these very, very hard assets where the proof of work is very tough, all profitability will go to zero and even dip under zero in a lot of places where the electricity is slightly higher, with Bitcoin, Litecoin, Monero, Ether, those kind of things. So, and even these chains, IOTA and Nano, that have no inflation, even they have a tough time with price and keeping it, keeping trading volumes up and those kind of things. So let's say if your coin has high inflation, it suffers from hyperinflation, and then there's a proof of stake component where too many people are able to earn too easily and that kind of thing. A lot of times it seems like those projects get bled out. The only caveat to that is when I see someone, let's say a project that has done like great marketing, great community engagement, like Energy, that would be a perfect example. Now, a lot of the airdrops haven't been released, so they have the great engagement, these huge airdrops, but it hasn't been released. So we'll see what happens to the price when that happens. But those are just some of the mistakes I've made, or some of the things that I've noticed going through two bear markets. It's very hard to keep going, and it's like being lost in the woods, guys. What are some of the mistakes you guys have made or that you've seen? Follow me on all social media at Brian Phobos, YouTube, Instagram, Steemit, Twitter. See you guys later.